Welcome everyone, I'm Crystal Core and welcome to No Restraints. For everyone that's new, No Restraints is a podcast that is focused on optimism and speaking things into existence. It's a safe space for conversation and just letting yourself loose and speaking the truth. It also gives us a chance to talk about stuff that might be holding us back in life and that we want to change. A quick refresher for everybody. Last episode, I talked with Rashid the Motivator about his work as a motivator, putting trust in God, and toxic positivity. Today, I have another guest that I'm so excited for everyone to meet. Her name is Nicoletta Crowley. She's a prevention specialist with goals to be a social worker. She is also very passionate about praying, and similar to Rashid, she loves to help other people. Nicoletta, welcome to No Restraints.
Hello, Crystal. I'm so happy to be here. I feel so honored. I was so blessed when you asked me. I wanted to cry. I was so happy.
So far, we've had nothing but good conversation, and I'm sure this episode will be just as good as the other ones. It's just crazy to me to think about how, the listeners don't know this, but we were couple roommates for a little bit, and now we're here on a podcast together. I never would have thought that was ever going to happen. Isn't that crazy?
Oh my gosh, I feel the same way. I think throughout that whole year, I honestly feel like we're gonna learn more about each other through this podcast than living together the whole year.
I mean, we definitely had our fun and our talks and our cries and stuff like that.
Definitely.
But I just think, especially from being roommates in college, everything is so focused on school. And so I'm definitely, interested to hear more about, what you've been up to since graduation and stuff like that. But is there anything you want to tell the listeners about yourself?
Yeah, so I guess what I've been up to since graduation, life has been hectic, but since graduation, I have been working full time Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, as a prevention specialist with youth in Chicago public schools on substance use. Along with that, I'm also in an internship. So I do that Monday through Wednesday with a counseling department, working with boys who exhibit problematic sexual behavior.
Oh, wow.
And I'm also, yeah, it's pretty intense. I love that though. I'm also in online classes.
Your plate is so full.
It is. And so, I try to add some few things in there. Me and my friend had started a book club, so we've been catching up and reading books together. So I really enjoy doing that.
You always have the next best book to read.
I try to expand everything.
You said, obviously with everything that you do, it all seems centered around giving back and helping other people. And I just want to know where that passion came from. What really, when did you have that moment where you were like, this is what I want to do. I want to help people.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like it's always been inside me to just no matter what I'm doing to help others, but it really started in high school, actually. I had a really good friend. She was actually my best friend, and she was in the foster system. And through that, I witnessed so much that she had gone through, the different homes that she had been in. And she actually lived with my family for a summer, and we were in the process of fostering her. And I think just witnessing somebody so close to me who was not blood go through so much, that's pretty much where it started. And that's where I learned social work. I had never knew what that was. And it was challenging because a lot of people told me not to go into it. They're like, my coaches, my family, you're not going to make anything. Go be a teacher. And I'm like, man, I don't want to teach. Nothing to teachers, but I wanted to do something more individual and specific. And that's how it led me to social work. And now working on my grad school, I definitely feel like I'm in the process to not just learning more, but learning ways to help others in so many different aspects of their lives.
That's awesome. Just because, I mean, I think you know this, but my sister and I, we also grew up in the foster system, and the social workers that we had, the therapists that we had, we wouldn't be where we are today or who we are today without them. So I totally feel everything that you're saying 100%. Obviously, you like to help people. And I know that you were also a captain on the volleyball team at school. Sometimes when you're in a leadership position, people think you're bossy. At the end of the day, you just want to help people. But sometimes, that can rub people the wrong way. Did you ever experience that?
I definitely felt like I was thrown into that position along with like it just coming naturally to me. I never felt, I mean, my teammates could tell me wrong, of course. The relationship and the leadership that I tried to portray was more in the nurturing, and like I was more like the team mom. I always tried to take care of them, and because I know how badly we had gotten it from our coach, I just felt that it was more my job to care for them and show them how valued they were to be on this team.
So with all of that, what led you, to wanting to quit? Because for me, I thought that was really interesting because I had a similar experience as well where I wanted to quit basketball. My mental health was really bad at the time, and I actually attempted to quit, and I obviously ended up not quitting. But how did that all surface for you?
Yeah, so it's so crazy. And it's funny because you say like yours is your last 2 years you wanted to quit, when in fact like mine was my first 2 years, and I feel like that's for a lot of people. I struggled a lot mentally. I was not in the right headspace. I had so much going on at home. My grandma was dying, and I just wanted to be at home. Not just because of that, but like going in my freshman year, I didn't really connect with anyone in my grade. And I think that really shows as being the last one there my senior year. There was nobody for me to hold on to for 4 years to guide me. I remember freshman year, winter break, crying to my mom, saying, "Mom, I don't want to go back." And granted, the school was only 40 minutes from my house. It wasn't like I was 3 hours away. It was just, I was in such a low place. I wasn't used to the environment. The girls on the team, the coaching, it was a struggle for me. I'm thankful that I persevered through it because that was a huge obstacle for me. Finishing out and seeing the progress I made at the end, it was just so beneficial for me. I definitely learned so much.
I feel like our experiences are a little bit similar. What were ways that you were able to motivate yourself to keep going?
The way I just kind of pushed through it, I showed up every day and put a smile on my face, even when I didn't want to. I stepped out on the court acting like I was the boss and that I was a good player, even when I probably was not the best. It just transformed into that. I kind of just developed that into my last couple of years. That's kind of just how I made it through. I realized I had to create friendships, and I kind of just suckered people in, and we're like, okay, we're going to be friends.
The saying is definitely true, at least for me. Everyone would tell me, you're going to meet your lifelong friends, like friends forever. And there's definitely teammates that I know I'm going to be friends with forever, and obviously, friends too. So I'm glad we were at least, able to gain a couple friendships from college.
Definitely.
But time to get a little personal. I know that you did share with me that a large obstacle you faced was self-harm. Do you mind talking about that a little bit?
Yeah, of course. So I have gone through this since about sixth, seventh grade to senior year of high school. So this was a big struggle for me throughout high school, and that was showing a lot of my insecurities, which is why I struggled so much in college. And I didn't know how to grasp it. And self-harm was kind of how I took out my insecurities. Growing up, I felt so low. I did not love myself. I felt a lot of anger, and that's when I really questioned my relationship with God as well. Because I would think to myself, like, feeling this anger inside of me, why is he putting me through this? Why is he letting me still do this? And during the time that I would go through that, the anger, like, I don't know how to explain it. It's like the anger would build up in me. Growing up, we don't learn how to cope with our emotions. And this is exactly what I teach my kids now, like how to cope properly, because unfortunately for me, I took it out of myself. I would cut. I could breathe again. I was no longer like suffocating or like on fire. Eventually, I just got tired of telling myself next year will be better. It wasn't better. You try to create this better mindset, but like, when you're so low, it doesn't manifest.
Such a young age too.
Yeah. So I just got so tired of telling myself that. It was like a switch, and I was like, I don't have to do this anymore. I eventually learned better coping skills. It's something that when I reflect on, like it makes me sad, like not because I think about doing it or anything, but because I had the audacity to do that to myself. Like to
Mhm.
put my younger self, who was so vulnerable, through this stage where all she needed was somebody there for her and to love her.
Would you say, was it prayer? Was it teaching yourself and like talking to yourself that helped you get through that? If there's a listener out there today that's possibly going through the same thing, if you could say one thing to them, what would it be?
Yeah, I would definitely say, don't try to hide it. To actually ask somebody, what can I do instead? Because um, reaching out for the help is the hardest thing. And I know we always say they should be the ones coming to me, but sometimes you have to build that courage for yourself and you have to stand up for yourself and be vocal. And I wasn't, I didn't know how to be. And I think that's the most important thing is to use our voice and to just stand up for ourselves and tell somebody this is the help that I need and this is what I'm struggling with, because without saying that, so many things go unnoticed.
At least for me, it's just crazy because I never knew, that something that you experience, and we've talked about so many other things before, but I know that's not something that you just necessarily say, "Oh, hi, I'm Crystal, by the way," but um, it's just like amazing to see, the transformation that you can make once you acknowledge, what you're going through. Like you said, it's like a switch goes off. Once you tell yourself, okay, like I don't deserve this, or, this is something that I can work on changing. And once you eventually start to believe that in yourself, everything just changes.
Yeah, and I think a part of that is why I really struggled in college. I did not let myself believe in God, and I went to a Lutheran school. I was forced to go to church. And once I actually opened myself up, I began to realize he wasn't putting me through that. He would never want that for somebody. He was trying to find me a way to like open myself up to him. I always say I would rather go through something than have other people go through it. It's definitely a downfall. I know what I can take, and I question what others can because I just don't want to see them hurt.
Well, thank you. Like, seriously, thank you so much for sharing that and like opening up on the show. I know your words will help somebody, your words will inspire somebody. The work that you're doing, everything that's on your plate right now has a greater purpose. And obviously, it's really close to your heart. Like, everything that you're doing right now and like what you aspire to be is very personal. And I think that it's very important to have purpose behind your passions, and you're literally like a great example of that.
Thank you. I try so hard. And I try so hard because I don't feel like I need to tell people everything that's happened. Because I never want to feel like what I had gone through is worse than somebody else's. I never want to like one up them by saying, well, I did this. Like, no, I don't think that's the purpose. The purpose is to now say them tell you what they're going through, and now you say, well, this is how I can help you. You know, these are the resources. This is the ideas, or what I feel can better you in these situations.
That's a great point that you just made, because a lot of conversations that I've had, it's exactly what you said. I say something that I'm going through that's bothering me, and it's like the person's response is to say something, well, I'm going through this, and then it just gets like back and forth. But sometimes you really just need someone to just say, I hear you and I'm here for you. What else do you want to say to me? Like, that's super important. As you know, now it is time to pop the question. What would your life be like if you didn't have any restraints?
I swear, I have thought about this question, Crystal, since the first time I heard your first podcast. I feel if I had no restraints, when I think about that, that means nothing's holding me back, you know, power, money. I think if I had that opportunity, like I swear I always tell people this, I believe it. Like I want to change the world. I tell people this all the time. I want to make a happier, healthier, and safe place for everybody because I know that that's what God intended it to be. And right now, as we see it, that's not happening. Basically, if I know her strengths, it would just be to, you know, flip a switch and change everything because that's what we need right now. And I know once that can happen and that can be fulfilled, I think a lot of people would feel that they have no restraints holding them back.
I love that you said that because obviously the world that we live in today, I could name like 1,000 things right now that are wrong and that shouldn't be happening. As long as one person has a mindset that, you know, I want to make a change, I want to make the world a better place, and then they're able to go do that, they inspire somebody else, and then someone gets inspired from what they're doing. And so it's kind of like a chain reaction. That's why I love this podcast so much, because there's such a great chance that someone could hear what you're saying right now, and they might have been afraid, you know, to talk to that person. They might have been afraid to chase that dream. It's inspiring and it's helpful, and we really need more people like you that want to change the world genuinely. And obviously everybody wants more money, but at the end of the day, it feels good helping other people, and it also feels good to be able to actually see the change that and the impact that you have on others as well.
Thank you. Honestly, that's why I feel like listening to this podcast, I really hope so many people are out there listening because without you ever starting it, I remember you posted, what should my podcast be named? And I went straight to your Twitter and I clicked this one. But I would have never even questioned this to myself. What would I do if I either had nothing holding me back or even all the power in the world, you know? And I think that's something that a lot of people should start questioning because, you know, even though we're all coming from different places, we can still make an impact, big or small. And hopefully, you know, all the small ones will continue to be like a domino effect, creating even more positive change.
And that's, like I said earlier, that's the goal of the podcast. But yeah, there's, like you said, there's a greater purpose for everything. And, you know, if we can go one day making a difference on one person, that's really all we really need. Do you have any last words you want to say before we end the show?
I just want to say thank you. This was amazing. You know, I feel so honored that I was even thought of to be on this show. And I just hope that so many people are out there supporting you right now. I hope and pray that it goes big because you are putting in so much hard work into this and thought process into all of it. So everybody listen to Crystal Core's No Restraints podcast. Thank you.
Of course. Well, Nikki, thank you for being here. Everyone else, thank you for listening. I hope Nikki and I were able to provide you with some insight into the struggles that you might be facing on your own, and honestly, the ugly sides of playing college sports. Be on the lookout for episode 5. You guys already know I'll have another amazing guest. Once again, Nikki, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.